Thank you. Thank you.
I think you cut yourself short.
Thank you.
For various reasons in life, unfortunately, you are not the only mother by whose side I've stood when she said her last goodbyes to her child. But of all of the mothers by whose side I've stood, you are a very, very exceptional
Oh, thank you.
And the question that was always running through my mind when all of this stuff was going on back in New York was, how do you get through the day? How did you manage to pull through it?
First of all, as I said, the first day that I heard the tragic news, I looked at my kids' faces and I saw the horror in their faces, and right there I decided I cannot die in here. That was the first thing. But however, I read a story somewhere that resonated with me, and I never forget that story. I read that Itzhak Perlman, at one of his concerts, he was giving a violin concerto, and because of his situation with the polio, of course, every time that he wants to, walk into stage, he carries his own violin, and he kind of drags himself with all the metal braces that's attached to his legs, and it's not a very comfortable sight to look at. I was told, I've never seen him. And he drags himself, and finally he sits on the chair, takes the violin out, and gets himself ready, and he starts playing the concerto. And the whole orchestra starts, and everybody's quiet, and after a few minutes through the concert, one of the chords on his violin snaps, and it's a very loud noise. The orchestra stops playing, and obviously he starts playing, and the audience are in shock. They don't know what's going to happen next. Choices where he could drag himself out again and go get a violin, or somebody should bring him another violin, which is not his violin that he's accustomed to. He looks at the crowd, takes a few deep breaths, and then he tells the orchestra to start playing, and he continues on with only 3 chords on his violin. He continues with the concerto and he does a fantastic job that everybody was breathless, and I was told that it's impossible to play that with 3 chords only. After the concert was done, they asked him, "Why did you do that?" And he said, "Sometimes in life, you just have to make the best music for what you have, with what you have left." And that, I think, explain it. That's I think, my story. You have no choice but to make the best music with what you have left. And
I'm confident that there are many people out there who are as moved by your speech
I hope so.
as I was. So if there's
it was long.
who wants to ask questions, we welcome your questions. Yes.
So I don't have a question, it's more of a comment. But considering my situation, I have heard many speeches like yours, but yours was by far one of the best.
Oh, thank you. Well, let me tell you something. With what you said, you made this 3 weeks of agony to write this all worthwhile. Thank you for telling me that. Honestly, you made my evening. Thank you.
You made mine.
Oh, you're so sweet. Remember to kiss you when I want to kiss you before you go.
I know that when everything was going on, you were talking about writing the book.
Yeah.
But when you were talking about writing the book, the circumstances and the outcome we were all hoping for was very different.
Yeah, Houman was there almost every day. I mean, with my brother and my sister, yeah.
So the question I have for you is, I'm sure everybody would love to hear, is, so what happened? What was the change that happened? What is the book that has become? How is that different from the original one? And why did you decide to end up writing it anyway? Because it was supposed to
Be a happy
have
ending.
two authors.
Yeah, it was supposed to have two offers, that's right. Yeah, when my brother was in the hospital, it is a very long story. I don't want to get anybody upset. Tonight is supposed to be about uplifting, not crying, hopefully. There were a lot of ups and downs. There were a lot of miracles. There were a lot of first times in the world of in the medical world that the president of the hospital was in shock. And I always told my brother Fariburs that when you go home, we're going to write a book together because this is unreal what's happening. And he kept on telling me, yes, when I go home, we're going to write a book together. And the name of the book was supposed to be Proof of Heaven on Earth. And that was because I kept on saying, why people want to die and go to heaven? I mean, with all this love and unconditional love and kindness of people that we see here, this is heaven. What else do you want? But unfortunately, when there was no happy ending in the book, and he passed on in 24 hours. The week that they told us he's going to go home, after 8 months, as I told you, I decided there's no point into writing a book. What kind of a heaven is this? But I thought, you know, if 5 people get encouraged that there could be, after everything that has happened, after all the tragedies that has happened, if 5 people could read the book and change their lives or get strength, or see that they're not the only one that these things are happening to. It's just life being life. It's nothing personal. I mean, life is not following people to say, okay, I'm going to make you badbacht or I'm going to make you khoshbacht. There is no such a thing. And I thought my brother wanted the book to be written. And you told me that I should write the book, even though I told you I've never written a sentence. So that's why. I kept on telling him, you're the writer. What am I doing here? He said, no, go on writing.
So how did the experience of writing the book change you? What was that like for you?
I don't know if it had changed me. It was torture. It wasn't easy because I had to go through every group text and all the medical records and all the dates and our conversations and emails and relive those things over and over and over again. But I think when I compare myself to my 2 other sisters, I think I'm in a more peaceful state than my sisters are. So I think it did help in a very difficult and sick way, I would say. Because it was really, really hard writing every sentence and every page and going over it again.
Yes.
I know that you made major sacrifices for Fariburs. Would you like to share that?
You're talking about the liver transplant.
Yes.
My brother, okay, go ahead.
The gentleman was asking that he knows that Soheila made some great sacrifices for her brother, and whether she would care to talk about those sacrifices.
If I'm not making anybody upset, I don't mind.
No,
I just
go ahead.
my brother and I were 100% match, and he had leukemia, and I was supposed to give him a bone marrow, and I did. I did give it to him the day that the doctors said he's going to die in 10 minutes because of septic shock. He had no white cells, and he had bacteria all over his body, and Houman was there. And they call it a dirty transplant, which was never ever done. And because I had given my bone marrow, they had it, so they decided they might as well give it to him. Make a long story short, 28 days later, he was cancer-free. And the president of the hospital, the presidents of other hospitals heard about this, and they would come and visit this boy that was supposed to die 28 days before in 10 minutes, and now he was cancer-free. So we celebrated in ICU, and we were very, very happy, and in synagogues and in churches and in mosques, they were all celebrating. And a week later, his liver stopped functioning because of a condition called GVH, graft versus host disease, which means when a new cell enters the body, something in the body rejects it. It happened to be his liver, which does not happen so often. Actually, almost never happens. His liver stopped functioning, and he turned yellow, and it wasn't getting any better. And the doctors gave up on him, and they said he's gonna die. It was Tuesday. They say he's gonna die on a Monday, maximum. And they told me that the only way he would survive is for me to give him part of my liver, but they wouldn't accept it because it's a very complicated surgery. I could die on a surgical bed, and he's in such a bad shape that he's gonna die anyway. So I started begging every surgeon, every doctor. I went from one test to another test and basically begged them to go ahead with the surgery because that was the only chance he had to survive. And I kept on telling him, if I was lying on that bed dying, my brother would have done the same thing for me. And the answer was no till 10 o'clock Thursday night. The doctor called me at home, and I begged him, and he decided to do it Friday morning. And I went under surgery, and my brother was in the bed next to me, and they took 60% of my liver, and they gave it to my brother, and they thought he's gonna die. He's not gonna make it out of the surgery. And he did survive. And he was fine. He was perfectly fine, actually.
He beat cancer.
He beat cancer again, and he beat the, they told us 99%, I'm doing the surgery, but he's gonna die anyway. But he survived, and he was perfectly fine. Actually, the day that he passed on, his liver was more complete and better functioning than my liver. My liver was still not, because I gave him 60%, I was left with 40%. So, and it regenerates, so I have a perfect liver. Now it's just not in the shape of a liver that you guys have. Mine is special.
She get it to him.
I have a designer limited edition liver.
Yes.
Is there something you do every day to remind yourself to stay positive? Is there something specific, or how do you keep yourself every day to remind yourself to stay positive?
So the question is there something you do every day to stay positive and to keep positive? Is there something you tell yourself every day to remind yourself?
No, I don't do that, honestly. I just remind myself that I don't want to be negative. I don't want to go down there because I don't know what happens if I go down. I don't know if I can pull myself up. And again, I know it sounds like a cliche, but it's true. I surround myself with people that I love, and I know they love me, and I really appreciate the love and unconditional love, and I do whatever brings happiness. I listen to music even when I'm sad and crying. Right away I put the music that I like, and funny enough I start dancing. Shahrukh is not there, but I imagine he's dancing in front of
Yes, the lady in the back.
I want to stand up because I think everybody here has been touched, has been happy.
the microphone. Is good.
But my question to you is this. My question to you is this. First of all, commendable the way that you have come out of this very difficult and trying, one after the other, tragedies. I don't know how you do it. You're saying it by reading and doing things and talking about it and charities and all of that. And that is really awesome. However, brings me to my question. Do you believe at all what you've been through in it's meant to be? Number one, do you believe in reincarnation as a hope to see your loved ones again? Maybe pick them up? I don't know. God willing, when your kids get married, your grandkids? Do you see that at all? I've got two questions for you. One is, what do you think of meant to be? Did you learn anything from this? Is it fair to learn this way? And the second question being, might you see your loved ones again?
I did not believe, answering your second question first, I did not believe reincarnation. I thought when somebody passes on, it's like a branch of a tree. It's cut, it falls on the ground, and after a while it just disappears. I never gave it much of a thought because when I lost my son, the only person that I've lost before that was my grandfather probably, which I'm sorry to be rude, but at this point of my life, I think whoever dies at the old age, it's a celebration. I don't get it, but honestly, I think like that. But now I do. I do believe that my son or my brother or my sister, I truly believe that they're around me. And I do believe that because not only I have been to mediums that they have no idea who I was and they started talking about it, but I see signs and I see what I asked them, somehow there is a sign in front of me and I cannot ignore it and I do not want to ignore it. What's the point of ignoring it? Even if it's a lie, the lie is helping me. So whatever helps me, I hang on to it. Even there is no basis to it, no truth to it, it's helping me. It's fine. So it's a good thing for me at that moment. So as answering your other question, if I believe in what is meant to be and destiny, I kind of do believe that because my brother was supposed to go home. The doctor told me that he's going to go home. However, I don't base my life. I don't go on living my day-to-day life thinking, what's the point if it's all meant to be? No. I do what I think I should do, or I do whatever I think it's right to do, and I don't think of meant to be. I just go on doing it. As I always say, Nike to me is the biggest philosopher. It says, just do it. Honestly, just do it. And don't think about it. I don't base it, I don't make it, I don't sit back and think, okay, it's meant to be the other way. No.
To follow up on that second question, I'm wondering if there's a story you would like to share with us. I know it's in your book, so I think they would enjoy hearing it. The casino story.
Oh, the casino story. It's a long. I swear to God, it's a true story. Oh, you read it, right? We in New York, when I was living in New York, still now. We used to go with 6 other families and our children to the Bahamas every Thanksgiving. That was the thing we did, and the kids looked forward to it. So the year after I lost Stefan, we are standing in the middle of the casino in Atlantis. And of course I'm thinking, Bemiran Barot, you were here last year, all your friends are here, and you're not here. And Justin, my first son, was standing next to me. So in order to keep my son with us, we always include his birthday, which is November 19, in whatever we do. Like when we travel on the airplane, take row number 19, or when we want to go to a hotel room, we get a room that has number 19, or when we leave a tip, we always put a 19. So this way we think he's included. And I talk about him all the time, as you can tell. So we're standing in a casino, and I told Justin Drew, go put $5 on roulette, on number 19 on roulette table. And he said, Mom, I don't feel like it. I said, okay. We're standing at the corner where there are 4 roulette tables at the 4 corners. I swear to God, true story, because my son was there. And the ball goes round and round and round and round, and it lands on number 19. So I turned around and I told Justin, we could have won. You see what you did? We lost so much money because you didn't put the $5. And he said, Mom, it's okay. And then I turned around to the other roulette table. That one was also flashing number 19. I turned around on the 3rd one behind me, and then on the 4th one. We were standing in the middle, and 4 roulette tables at the same time were flashing number 19. And I kept on telling Justin, tell me what I'm looking at is not my imagination. And he said, no, Mom, they're all flashing number 19. Fast forward, following Thanksgiving, I'm there with Sylvie Hakim, and Cubbies were there too. And we were sitting at the roulette table. And I told her the story, and she said, oh. We're sitting at the table, and the table brings number 19 with Sylvie. And I said, and Sylvie, when she gets excited, she goes, more down. And she's number 19. And then we look both at the table next to us, and that also brought number 19. So you see, when there are signs like that, I cannot ignore it. I mean, what's the point of ignoring it? I think he's trying very hard to tell me that he's around me, and it's not fair if I ignore it. So I make a conscious choice not to ignore it. And that was the story in my book. Yes, Rich.
Hi, Soheila. I remember when you were saying that part of your philosophy through your amazing growth is that you surround yourself around loving people. But I was wondering do you believe that sometimes there are toxic people that can't stop you in your growth?
I stay away from toxic people. I run the other way. Honestly, I'm one of those people that's not fair to people. Seriously. If the energy of that person is something, I'm like a repellent. In Iran, we used to call it pif puff. I go there. Honestly, I can't help myself. I surround myself with people that I love. And I don't want to have anything to do with negative people or people, as you said, with negative energy. But that's what I do. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong, it's me. I'm like that. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
On behalf of Cammie, Justin, and Seth, who are watching from New York, they want to say they love you.
Love you guys. None of my kids are here. My husband is not here. They're tired of me giving speech.
They're playing number 19.
Yeah, they're playing number 19. No, my husband is in New York.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
How your book became from wrestling with God to resting with God?
After what happened to my brother, after losing 3 people, my brother was a big, it was like a punch in my face because I thought I couldn't do anything about the other 2. And this one I could actually save. As my brother used to call me, I was his insurance policy because we were the 100% match. And no matter what I did, it went positive for a few days and then it would go negative. And honestly, there was nothing else to do. Everything that I did, somehow, the universe turned it around. So when he passed on, I was petrified of my own shadow. I would look up at the sky and start cursing at God. The Khuda, I was just cursing at him. And I have not stepped, I'm not saying you should or you shouldn't, I have not stepped into a synagogue. I do not follow that anymore because I was angry. And I didn't want to be angry. I'm not the person that go on. It's not me. It's not a comfortable zone for me to be angry or negative or scared, most of all. I was very scared. If the phone rang, I thought, okay, now what? If somebody would ring the doorbell, I would think, okay, now who's giving me bad news? And at one point, I woke up one day and I decided I do not want to be like that. I don't want to go on living in fear and living in anger. And I decided whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. So I started reading books, I started talking to people, I started watching things. And thanks to Google and internet and whatever is around, there's plenty of information, plenty of love. I mean, I know it sounds like cliche, but I owe where I am now to my family and friends. I owe it to you. Look, this room is full just because you guys are here. And the energy of this place is fantastic because you're here. It's true. It's you guys that make me the person that I am. I'm just happen to be here. But thank you.
When the book going to be out?
The book is going to be out in a couple of months. If I was famous or had a video of some peculiar way on internet, the book would have been out a year ago. It's difficult publishing it, and it's going to be out in 3 minutes, so that's why it's taking so long. Yeah. You guys should come for book signing. I have your emails. I can come after you. You can't get away. I know where you are.
Any more questions? Oh, yes, we have a question.
I just want to say that I went to visit Soheila after they lost their brother, and she was amazing. I could not get over the way she was. She was, to all of our eyes, was, as she said, the most perfect. She was still wearing the big scar on her stomach after the surgery, and she was consoling, trying to make everybody happy and bring smile to everybody's faces while they were going through such that.
Thank you.
Which method or path of therapy helped you the most?
Which method or path of therapy helped you the most?
Do we have psychiatrists here besides Sylvie? Because I don't like going to therapists or psychiatrists. That didn't help me. What helped me was I started taking classes on spirituality. I started reading books on different subjects. I lost myself in nature. Honestly, what I did is that I looked at nature and waited for beauty of nature and I was amazed by it. And I thought that there is a bigger picture. It cannot be just this. This world cannot be just this. I started just concentrating and enjoying beautiful things. I honestly concentrated on beautiful things and good people and love of people and what I have and the masterpieces that are hanging on my wall. Not that I couldn't note, I noticed that missing painting, of course, every single time. But I did not waste too many minutes in front of it. I started looking and enjoying and spending time with beautiful things and beautiful people, basically, which is out there. You just have to want it, I suppose. If you don't feel sorry for yourself, which is the last thing I want to do, or which is the last thing I want people to think of me, there are plenty of beautiful things that you can still enjoy and cherish, actually. It's a choice. I choose life. Thank you very, very much for being here again. I really appreciate it. This is a full house. I cannot thank you enough, and thank you for being there. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for supporting me. And again, I'm sorry I gave you a headache. Thank you.
Presented to Soheila Adelipour, thank you for sharing the journey of your spiritual healing with us. You are an inspiration to all of us.
Thank
the
you.
Board of Elite Entrepreneur Organization, February 8, 2018. Beverly Hills, California, the Board of Elite Healing Hands and Elite Entrepreneur
Thank you.
Organization. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I should have won an Oscar, but I'll take, since I don't get an Oscar, I'll take this.
I also want to thank Houman for
Yes.
accepting the very last minute to
Thank
come
you.
and help
Thank
us
you.
and moderate.
Have to give this to the hospital. What is your,
What, give what to them?
the same speech? Really?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.